Hi, now I would like to introduce you this logic circuits lab, how this lab process is running. So in order to explain that, let me start from the home page. You see this home page format is more or less the same for all the lab courses, lab courses and theoretical courses. I am talking about my courses, of course. For the other courses, I don't know what the teachers do there. So in here, left-hand side, in this column, we've got pages. For each experiment in this course, there is one page. There is a first thing first page, this page. This is where I am going to explain this lab process to you. So the videos that I'm trying to setting up right now is going to come here. So you can watch the videos in here. So the first page, come back to the first page. As I said, this is the left-hand side menu. In here, we've got a calendar. This calendar is also in this calendar, right-hand side calendar as well. So you could see all the experiments in one go in that table. In here, each day, which experiment is going to be done by which group, you could see all here. For example, if you click one of the day here, I can tell you in this day, group A and group B is going to do the first experiment. And then they're going to take these two exams. This week it's going to be done. So in your case, you're going to see which day you're going to do what. All explained here. If you click one of them, you can go to the details. Now if you come back to here now, so as you see, for the first week there is no lab because there is no progress in theory. After that, for each experiment there are 2 weeks that you're going to do that experiment. The first week you're going to do the setup Pro Tools simulation. The second week you're going to set up the circuit or realize the circuit on breadboard. So 2 weeks for each experiment. The total number of experiments that you're going to do is 6. So which experiment you're going to do, all shown here, and what you're going to do is explained on this activity site here. So if you look at in general this table, in this week 6 there is something different that you're going to do. The reason is that because the next experiment, the elements that you're going to use for these experiment wouldn't be explained in this week. That's why in this week we are asking you to set up a Pro Tools circuit does a simulation and realization for this circuit. So you're going to do it. You have already done the similar things in the previous experiments, so it is something like an exam. But this exam is let's say additional exam. What it means, the score that you're going, it is explained here, the score that you're going to get, this score is going to be added your score over 100. Whatever score you get, you're going to get another score due to this exam. What I mean is this. Let's say all your activities in the class, you're going to take many exams. These exams are here. And these are the scores that you're going to get. And when you, these experiments related exams, Pro Tools related exams, when you add them up, 100. So if you get, let's say, the total number that you get out of 100 in here is, like, say, 80. So if you do this exam properly, you can get another 10 points. That means it's going to be 90. So it is additionally given over 100 score that you get. Okay, but we are asking you if you could do it in a short time, you get 10 points. If you cannot do it in a short time, for a longer time, that means you can study, you are a bit slow, then you get 5 points for that. So two things happens here. We arrange the synchronization between theory and practice this week, and you're also getting the additional grade in this week by taking this exam. The another thing that you're going to observe here is no lab, it says here in the middle of the semester. The reason is in this week there is a faculty range midterm exams week. So all the assistants, teaching assistants, they are they've got to go to the exams and look after you. Therefore, there is no teaching assistant available in this week to do this lab, right? So therefore, week 8 there is no lab. So the other things, okay, almost finished everything. Just let me check here. Okay, come back now. First things first now. So as I said, for each experiment, we are going to spend 2 weeks. One of them is the week 1, what we are going to do, what you're going to do, pre-lab study. So week 1 is related with the simulation which is done in Proteus. Before coming to the lab, you're going to do your own simulation as a pre-lab study, your own, that is. So maybe for the first week you might say that how you're going to do it. So that is the explanation for that. How to use Proteus for digital circuits. There are some presentations, videos here, tells you how to use Proteus. So before coming to the first lab, you can watch these videos or examine the presentations, and then you can do that study. But these things here, whatever said here, is you might require this information while you are using the other experiments as well. Therefore, these videos are in the first. You could see these videos in this first experiment. Also, you would see these materials. That means videos or presentations in this first things first page. So in 2 different places that you could see them. So I am talking about the week 1 pre-study, how you're going to prepare yourself to that pre-study. So once you studied, that means you have simulated the circuit that you're going to realize in the lab session. You have done it already. Maybe you face some of the problems before coming to lab. So when you come to lab, you're going to repeat what you have done in Proteus at home in the lab. So if the problems that you faced, that you couldn't find the answer to those, you can ask the teaching assistants. They are going to help you how to do that, how to solve that problem. So that means you can learn through the things that you couldn't learn your own. Okay, that improves the process in the lab session. Once you have done it, let me see first of one of the leaflet. So in here it says leaflet is a short data related with the lab activity. So it says pre-lab work, so it explains you're going to prepare that Proteus simulation of the following circuit. And then, let's say you have done the simulation properly in the lab session. At the end of this first week lab session, there is an exam. This is a test exam. The first question of this exam is to upload whatever you have done in your simulation. So you're going to save your simulation, upload it to the CATS test platform. That's the first question. There are some other questions as well related with the Proteus. So you're going to do these tests, right? It might take 10 or 15 minutes. It's not a very long test. This test is related with Proteus simulation. During the test, while you are taking this test, you could open the Proteus program and look at it as you need it. So there is no any restriction. You can use that Proteus material while you are answering the questions in this test. Right? That's the first week. So I'm talking about now this first week. Okay, I explained to you what you're going to do in first week as a pre-lab study and lab study. So there is an exam in that lab study. When you come to week 2 is related with the realization. That means you have done the simulation of the circuit that you're going to realize. Now week 2, you're going to realize the circuit now. What I mean by saying realize, you're going to put together the elements, connect them together, and set up the circuit. This is called realization. Before coming to that realization, there is a preset study for week 2 as well. In this preset study, you can study the let me show it to you. For any, I open randomly one experiment, and it says here learning materials. When you come to these learning materials, there are two groups of materials. One of them, some videos seen here related with this experiment, and you can watch these videos to understand the Proteus that you're going to do before coming to lab. There are other group of materials which is called pre-lab study questions here for the second week test. That is going to be the preparation for this test. What it means this, if you study these questions, you can discuss with your friends and you can look at any book or any document or access the internet, whatever it is, and study these questions. When you study these questions before coming to class, of course, then after the realization of your circuit on the breadboard, you're going to take an exam. These exam questions are going to be very similar to those questions. Therefore, this is a study, pre-lab study, preparing you to the test that you're going to take in second week, right? Okay, so I talked about now, first things first underneath. So this week 2, what you're going to do. I have forgotten to say one thing. When you are talking about the second week exam, normally let me open one of the experiment leaflet. So in this leaflet, you're going to see for each experiment this is true. There is a result table here. What it is, the result table that you set up this circuit, you run the circuit, and it works. Results are going to be written in this table, and this table is going to be uploaded. This table is going to be uploaded to the second week exam first question answer. You're going to upload it to answer one of the questions. How you're going to do the upload business, assistants would help you. Also, it is also explained in the exam first page. Okay, so let's drop this on as well. This one. So these are the materials helping you for the first week and for the second week to do your studies better in the lab session. So the exams, I just mentioned these exams. There are 2 exams, first week exam, second week exam. First week related with Proteus, second related with the realization and the theory. So at the end, there is an evaluation for each experiment. This, whatever I said is true. As I said, on the left-hand side, for each experiment, there is a page here. This is that page. The last thing that you do is this. If you look at this page, at the beginning, there is a learning outcome here. Learning outcomes are the things that you're going to learn through these experiments. If you look at those, it gives you details which experiment you're going to learn this learning outcome. For example, learning outcome 1 is related to experiment 1, 2, 3. So learning outcome 2 is not learned in the experiment 1. You can see it here. But there are some learning outcomes which are learned in all the experiments. So these are, for example, learning outcome 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 are learned in all the experiments. So these are the things that we are expecting you learn while you are doing these experiments. Now the evaluation is to check whether you learn these outcomes or not. So let me show you one of these student questionnaire. Let's do it together. There's an explanation at the beginning, you can read it. Here you are, these are the learning outcomes, and we are asking you whether you learn it or not. So I could do that. You're going to say, no, I can't do it. I put the English version of it as well. That means none, that is the most. Çok, maybe you learn these Turkish words. Çok is the learn maximum. So you're going to click all those, depending on how much you learn these learning outcomes. So its total number of clicks that you're going to put in here is just 9. But of course, if this is experiment 1, you are doing the experiment 1, so you don't have to mark this learning outcome 2 because it's not related with the experiment 1. It says experiment 4, 5, 6 is required for this. The second part of the questionnaire is related to learning materials. These materials that we offer to you, these are leaflets, Proteus simulations, discussion questions, experiment realization, and measurements. Which of those contributed how much to your understanding, to understand the experiment? So you're going to just click which one contributed to you to understand your experiment. So it is just 4 clicks that you require to do this part of the questionnaire. The next is related about the other group of tools: manual calculations, Proteus simulation, answering the discussion questions. So these are the things that you have done. So we are asking you, you have done this, were they useful or not? You might say that, I didn't do the discussions at all, I didn't study it, and you took the exam. Was that exam successful or not? We can learn it. If you say that most of the students, they answer the questions, they second week exams, high scores they get. So for the next coming students, I can say that I advise you to do this, because if you do it, your score becomes higher. That's why we are asking you these questions. The next one, this is just 2 clicks that you need. You're going to click here, the assistant who helps you in this experiment, and then there are some questions here, maybe 6 or 5 questions. How did they help you? So you can qualify these helping quality by clicking these sides. Explain the meaning is written here. So these are the total number of clicks that you're going to do for each experiment. So that is the end of it. The total number of clicks is in the range of 25, but you're going to do it for each experiment. If you do so, we are going to share the results with you. We will discuss the results with you, how successful we are in order to learn these learning outcomes. So if we are successful on that, that means this is part of your teaching. This is also part of your learning effort. So we can say that. So that is the end of this course then. Scores are going to be seen in this grade book. All the exam scores, you're going to see it here. And on the score cases, you see for each experiment there are 2 scores. One of them the Proteus exam, the other one is the experiment exam. So for each experiment 15 points, the total number goes to 100. So you see in final, there's going to be only the Proteus simulations. They're going to be given a digital circuit, and then you're going to do the simulation on Proteus, and the weight of this exam is just 10 points. So these are the total scores that you can get. How the weights are distributed is given here. The corresponding letter scores in one of the theoretical course you can check it. This is 100 scores corresponding letters here. So if your score is in between 51 and 58, so the letter score is C+. So I think that's enough for you to understand how the lab process is running. Okay, let me finish this.